As Chief Executive Officer of the National Law Enforcement Memorial Museum, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2020 Destination Zero National Officer Safety and Wellness Conference, brought to you by the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the Valor Initiative, Verizon, and sponsored by Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. These organizations, just like ours, are committed to improving safety for our communities and officers. Thanks to their support, we are able to host this conference free of charge and fully virtual so that everyone who wishes to participate may do so. Because of their involvement and Verizon sponsorship this afternoon, we are also able to feature the 2020 Destination Zero Awards, which will be presented by one of my favorite people, Deputy Attorney General Katie Sullivan. The mission of the memorial is to respect, honor, and remember the fallen. It is a promise that we keep every single day. The mission of Destination Zero is an extension of that promise to make sure every officer is as informed and protected as possible. We are proud of Destination Zero and its efforts to keep names off the wall at the memorial. People often ask me what the name Destination Zero means. I tell them that the goal of the program is to arrive at zero preventable deaths for law enforcement officers. Together, along with the agencies we serve, we will show you how the National Law Enforcement Memorial Museum is advancing us closer and closer to that goal. One of the greatest things about law enforcement is that it encourages collaboration and working together towards a common goal. Law enforcement officers are team players like no other. Today's conference will show you how powerful that kind of teamwork can be. You'll see firsthand how men and women from agencies across the country have collaborated to improve their officer safety and wellness. I have no doubt you will take away valuable information from today's speakers that you will be able to use in your corner of the country. So thank you for joining us.
Good morning. My name is Kendall Ehrlich, and I'm the new Acting Director of the Bureau of Justice Assistance here at OJP. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Bureau's virtual 2020 Destination Zero Officer Safety and Wellness Conference. Unfortunately, due to the current situation resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, we're unable to gather here in Washington, D.C. But on the positive side, so many of you are able to meet and gather with us online to view our recorded sessions and participate in our live panel discussions. We're very excited about today's conference and hope to bring you information and resources to help you build, enhance, or strengthen your agency's officer safety or wellness programs. As many of you know, each year, the Destination Zero program and the Bureau of Justice Assistance present the Destination Zero National Officer Safety and Wellness Awards to the 4 agencies who have exemplified creativity, innovation, and success with their officer safety and wellness programs. Today, you are going to have the opportunity to hear from dozens of these former winners and finalists as they discuss their efforts in general officer safety, traffic safety, and wellness. The policing environment, now more than ever, has become increasingly challenging and unpredictable as law enforcement is facing ever-challenges crime threats, volatile social unrest, protests, anti-police sentiments, and a global health crisis. The strain on police agencies and sheriff's offices as organizations and on sworn and non-sworn staff and families could easily be considered an all-time high. It's become an almost daily occurrence to see headlines about another law enforcement professional who's been gravely injured or killed in the line of duty. This is taking a heavy toll on the men and women who protect us, not only physically, but emotionally. This is why the work that we are doing at the Bureau of Justice Assistance is so important. BJA continues to design, develop, and implement training, technical assistance, and resources focused on officer safety and wellness. We are constantly striving to bring you innovative, life-saving training information. We're doing this through our robust officer safety and wellness portfolio. The Destination Zero program and this conference are a piece of that portfolio under our Valor Officer Safety and Wellness Initiative. Valor stands for Preventing Violence Against Law Enforcement Officers and Ensuring Officer Resilience and Survivability. The Valor Initiative's mission is improving the immediate and long-term safety, wellness, and resilience of law enforcement officers. We do this at a no cost to agencies and officers. I encourage you to visit BJA's Valor Initiative to learn more about what we have to offer. As I already mentioned today, you'll be hearing from many of Destination Zero's former winners and finalists. I'm excited to announce that after our first 3 sessions, we will also hear from the Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Catherine Sullivan, as she presents the 2020 Destination Zero National Officer Safety and Wellness winners. These outstanding programs are helping to lead the charge in advancing law enforcement safety and wellness, making them and our communities safer. We're glad that you've joined us here today. I hope you enjoyed today's conference. I hope you visit the Destination Zero website for more information and continue to act with BJA, the Valor Initiative, and Destination Zero as we strive to reduce the number of line of duty deaths to 0 and improve officer safety and wellness. I'd like to thank the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial for partnering with us on Destination Zero and for hosting today's conference. And to you, our law enforcement family, we here at BJA want to thank you for all that you do. Your profession is challenging and dangerous. This administration, the Department of Justice, recognize and appreciate all that you and your families sacrifice in order to protect our communities. You deserve and have our full support and gratitude. Thank you so much.
Destination Zero is all about saving lives. It's all about reducing the number of police officers that die in the line of duty.
The primary mission of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial and Museum is to honor the fallen and to connect communities with law enforcement. It's not enough for us to honor the fallen and put names on the wall annually. The men and the women who are putting their lives on the line deserve a program which will focus on health and safety, and that's what Destination Zero is all about.
Destination Zero is a partnership between the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Valor Initiative to honor successful and innovative officer safety and wellness programs and share those initiatives with every one of our law enforcement agencies. From the Office of the President to the Attorney General, all have made officer safety and wellness a priority.
I've been a cop for 40 years and been to my share of police funerals. We all understand that there are sacrifices and risks that go along with being a police officer, but you want to somehow believe that we can get to a point where cops can be safe at all times while they're doing their job. This is a very personal thing for, I think, any police officer, and it certainly is for me.
Destination Zero is designed to spark innovation and spread the idea of safety and wellness throughout law enforcement.
There are probably 17,000 law enforcement agencies in the United States. And within those organizations, there are departments that are doing great, innovative things. So the idea is for us to recognize it, pull it all in, and provide a resource for law enforcement to come, visit the Destination Zero website and say, wow, look at what this agency did. What a great idea.
We have a comprehensive database of over 250 initiatives that agencies throughout the country can download to enhance or expand their officer safety program.
You as a law enforcement agency don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's here on our website. You can see what other agencies have already done, and the more that we share those, the more information gets out there to make it safer.
Each year, Destination Zero honors 4 recipients with the National Officer Safety and Wellness Awards. We give awards for general officer safety, traffic safety, officer wellness, and comprehensive officer safety. We receive over 200 submissions from agencies across the country. We narrow that down to about 12 finalists, and that list of finalists is presented to our DZ selection committee. They review all the material and select the 4 national award winners.
It's an absolute honor to be here tonight to receive this award. To be recognized for such an impactful program that's so needed in today's climate, especially in light of everything that's going on, we're very proud to be out here and proud to be recognized for a program like that.
It's really an incredible honor. Last year we were the runner-up. Now to win the top award this year, this is really a big thing. So we're incredibly honored to be here.
I've been on the committee since the beginning. It's really a great honor to work with the Memorial Fund to try and do what we can to impact officer safety and wellness. The great work that's being done around the country needs to be recognized, it needs to be encouraged.
I think Destination Zero also contributes to honoring the over 21,000 men and women who are on the wall that were killed in the line of duty, and we are committed to keeping officers off of the wall.
The goal for Destination Zero is to drive the number of law enforcement fatalities down to the only acceptable number of 0.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2020 Destination Zero Officer Safety and Wellness Conference. At Verizon, we are committed to serving first responders, and this conference is a testament to our support for the men and women in law enforcement who continue to support their communities during these unprecedented times. The whole world has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and while we do our best to social distance and take as many precautions as possible, our men and women in law enforcement are called to remain on duty and stay vigilant. From the smallest local sheriff's office to federally sworn officers, law enforcement must, as always, put themselves on the line for their communities. We are all aware of the threat officers face each and every day, but with the onset of this pandemic, there are new ways officers and their command staff need to prepare for dangerous scenarios. The Destination Zero Conference for Officer Safety and Wellness is designed to put active duty law enforcement dealing with these issues in touch with the best practices and experts in their fields. You can expect to hear from medical personnel, mental health practitioners, chiefs, sheriffs, and other experts in the field. Through this conference and the Destination Zero website, they have curated a day of technical assistance and a comprehensive resource center that is designed to help every officer and every agency committed to officer safety and wellness. This conference also provides a lot of great information designed to help every officer and every department in their daily duties. Thank you.
I'm very pleased to join you here today as we talk about an issue that is in all of our hearts, and that is officer safety and wellness. Back in the late 1970s, I recall getting a new sergeant assigned to my squad. I was a patrol officer working the evening shift, and at the new sergeant's first roll call, he told us that he would be sitting on a stump out in back of the station after work. Now, I knew there were no trees or stumps behind the station, just asphalt and chain link. So I didn't know quite what he meant, but I very quickly figured out that he enjoyed having one cold one, as he put it, after work, and wanted anyone who wished to join him. As I look back on those many nights behind the station, I realized that this wise old sergeant was checking in with us. We talked about the many calls we had responded to, we talked about our lives outside of work, and mostly just laughed about the absurdities of policing. I remember always going home in an upbeat mood. On some level, this was a type of peer support that I know helped me build resilience. In sharp contrast to today, when I began my policing career in 1976, officer safety and wellness was not nearly as evolved, talked about, or as accepted as it is today. That's why I'm so pleased to be a part of this conference and to be involved with Destination Zero for the past 6 years. It's important to thank not only the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund, but to thank the Department of Justice and specifically the Bureau of Justice Assistance. They fund this program and give departments the incentive to create these great initiatives. It's also important to thank two major sponsors who also make Destination Zero the great program that it is. We thank Verizon and the Goodyear Tire Company for their support. So it's 2020, and the dangers of policing are as challenging as ever. The word unprecedented comes to mind. The challenges associated with COVID-19 have been difficult enough. Layer on protests, civil unrest, rising gun violence, and a diminishing level of public support for the police, and the word unprecedented is spot on. And yet, with all of the ongoing criticism of policing that we read and hear about daily, the men and women wearing a badge continue to go to work, putting themselves in harm's way to protect our communities and make them safer. We cheer for them, we pray for them, and we support them. And giving them the support to do this very difficult job is why we are here today. Making sure that our cops have the training and resources to go home safe and well after their shift is done. That doesn't just happen. Police leaders have to ensure that it happens. And when I look at the programs, the strategies, the policies, and the training that have been put in place over the past 40 years, I know we are doing a better job at keeping our cops safe and well. But even with all of our efforts, we still have police officers being killed in the line of duty. We still mourn friends and colleagues who die in car crashes, who are ambushed, or whose heart gives out while they're working. And this year, we will likely have more police die of COVID than will die in the line of duty. And sadly, the number of suicides by police officers continues to increase. These are the realities that our profession is dealing with. So let's face these realities and have the difficult and courageous conversations that are needed. Let's have those conversations today, let's have them at roll call, and have them in the training academy. Let's not wait for another funeral to face the fact that many of these deaths can be prevented. For example, I think about what the typical pursuit policy looked like when I started my career, and look at how they have been refined over the years. More importantly, when I started, wearing a seatbelt was not mandatory, and many cops, if not most of them, didn't even wear them. Just eliminating senseless high-speed chases and making police officers wear their seatbelts has saved many, many lives. But police and sheriff's departments are now going even further to keep their folks safe. Using technology that encourages the driver to comply with the department policies is another step toward reducing fatalities. Even more encouraging is the investment that agencies are making in health and wellness. I hesitate to keep comparing what's being done today to when I started policing, but it's nothing short of astounding to see the resources available to law enforcement personnel, sworn and civilian, to address their physical health, their nutrition, and their mental health. The emphasis that has been put on the value of regular exercise, as well as the great information on diet and sleep habits, will help extend our lives. Our profession is paying attention to these important things. And just as important as one's physical health is our mental health. Law enforcement is a stressful occupation. At times, often without notice, it can be a dangerous occupation. It's a job that requires we get involved in traumatic incidents, a lot. The research that has been done over the years that has helped design programs and training that help cops before, during, and after they experience stress, danger, and trauma. Some of the initiatives that have won awards from Destination Zero are absolutely amazing. They offer confidential wraparound services to employees who feel like they need help. The biggest obstacle for law enforcement officers remains their hesitancy to ask for help or to take advantage of agency programs in place. Even today, cops too often see mental health treatment as a sign of weakness or vulnerability. Nothing could be further from the truth. I watched a webinar that the museum put on earlier this year, and one of the panelists was Dr. Heather Silvio, a clinical psychologist who specializes in PTSD. Dr. Silvio talked about how police can strengthen their mental health to help them before, during, and after a traumatic event. She spoke about building resilience so that we have the ability to continue to respond to the difficult challenges we will face as we do our job. Dr. Silvio also describes the importance of relying on our training as we are in the midst of an event, knowing what to do, using smart tactics, controlling our emotions, de-escalating, and focusing on the best outcome. Dr. Silvio then talks about the resources that can be utilized after going through a traumatic event. Resources that allow us to process our emotions and recognize the impacts of trauma. Resources like peer support or an employee assistance program. The key is to have trained professionals to provide help and a program that assures confidentiality for those seeking assistance. I think about the numbers of police officers who commit suicide each year. Typically, it's 2 or 3 times as many officers that are killed in the line of duty. I wonder how they lost hope in their lives and if they ever thought about reaching out for help. So many agencies are developing strategies to try to reduce police suicides, and I'm very encouraged by this work. These deaths can be prevented. There's no question that even under normal circumstances, police work is tough. This year has been anything but normal. When the pandemic shut down nearly everything, cops still came to work. And not only did we rise to the challenges that we faced this past year, but we did so while under relentless scrutiny from the press, criticism on social media, and pushback from our elected officials, and the disapproval from many members of our community. But make no mistake, law enforcement still has a great deal of support in our communities. I promise you that. Every cop, sheriff's deputy, or 911 operator, every sworn or civilian member of our law enforcement agencies. Your good work, your integrity, your courage is appreciated. Over the past 6 years, I've been a part of a team of law enforcement leaders selected to determine which police and sheriff's departments will receive a Destination Zero award. It's an honor to review so many entries from agencies that clearly understand the risks and hazard of the job and want to do everything they can to mitigate and remove those risks. I urge you to listen to what the award winners have done. It will make you so proud of our profession, and it will be a window into the future of good policing. My wish for each of you is to live each day in a way that honors the sacrifice that our fallen brothers and sisters have made. The reputation of our profession ultimately rests on your shoulders. After 42 years of being a cop, I know that the public wants to believe that the folks who police their community are well-intended, that we will always strive to do the right thing and do it the best we can. We are only at our best when we take care of ourselves. This means taking care of ourselves physically and emotionally, and that is why we are all here today. Thank you, and be safe.
Good morning. I'm John Matthews, Executive Director of Law Enforcement Initiatives for the National Law Enforcement Memorial and Museum. And welcome to the 2020 Destination Zero Conference. Today, you will hear from a wide array of police leaders and experts on the subject of officer safety and wellness. This virtual conference will give you an opportunity to learn successful strategies from many of our national award winners and for you to discover numerous important elements involved in keeping our law enforcement officers safe and healthy. It's never been more important to make sure that our protectors are themselves protected and that they're supported with the resources to keep them physically safe as well as mentally resilient. Here at the National Law Enforcement Memorial and Museum, we've been tracking law enforcement line-of-duty deaths for over 35 years. In 2014, in cooperation with the Bureau of Justice Assistance, we created the Destination Zero program in order to create a warehouse of resources designed to help to reduce those fatalities and to make the job of policing safer. This virtual conference is all about sharing the great ideas and approaches to improving the safety and well-being of our nation's police officers. As we present this conference, the current year-to-date statistics reflect a 19% increase over last year's fatality numbers. From firearms to crashes, from cardiac illness to the insidious spread of COVID, this conference is designed to help keep officers safe and to promote their physical and mental health. We've broken the conference into individual sessions. In each session, you will hear from award winners and experts on a range of health and safety topics. In today's first session, we're going to be looking at general officer safety as we hear from police executives and experts on how they've made strides in providing better protection and preparation for their officers. We'll hear about how drones can provide a tactical advantage for some calls for service and get tips on easy steps that can improve safety for patrol officers. Now let's begin by learning how the Pell City, Alabama Police Department became a 2019 National Officer Safety and Wellness Award winner.
Pell City is a suburb of the city of Birmingham. We have 16,000 residents that reside here. We cover 28 square miles. The Pell City Police Department has 38 full-time police officers, and we have 7 part-time police officers.
After 23 years with the Birmingham Police Department, in 2017, Paul Irwin left the big city and took the job as chief of the Pell City Police Department.
I think the main challenge that I have is to focus on officers' wellness and safety, and that's what I try to do each day, to make sure I have the equipment that the officers need so they can go out and do the job and be safe and go home to their families each day.
So Chief Irwin implemented an officer safety and wellness program and began to update the department from top to bottom, beginning with updating old uniforms for new, more breathable ones, as well as buying new lightweight vests for all of his officers. All officers are given tasers and also Narcan. The department instituted a patrol rifle program so officers can carry rifles in their vehicles, and purchased plate carriers to better protect officers in active shooter situations. And all patrol officers have ballistic shields and receive training on how to use them.
This year we also purchased a pivotal trainer, which is a device where officers can be trained in noticing whether a person is armed or disarmed.
The department has monthly firearms training, focusing on a variety of situations, from scenario-based training, shooting and movement drills, and elevated heart rate shooting drills, and hired 2 part-time officers who are also certified training instructors. With a focus on physical fitness, the department has an in-house gym and is currently turning an old civic center into another 24-hour workout facility for its officers.
Our fitness policy allows the officers to get out of service for an hour and gives them the opportunity to work out while they're on duty so they're physically fit to do this job. We have a physical agility test that the officers take every 6 months. Also, we get them to do the A-Post course, and we reward them with a day off compensation.
The Pell City Police Department continues to expand its officer safety program. The department implemented a mandatory seatbelt policy and tracks officers' speed through a GPS system. It created its first ever SWAT team, one of only 2 in the area, and recently began annual retreats for its officers for team building and to focus on work-life balance.
The officers have responded very positive, and it makes me very excited because they know that what we were doing was trying to make our department better. My officers, they go out every day and put themselves on the line and help the community. These are heroes. Every officer in America that puts on a uniform each day, we need to take care of them. I'm very excited about our department receiving this award for Destination Zero. This means a lot to me, and it means a lot to them.
Training is a life insurance policy. And I don't think that training is a life insurance policy for my cops. That training is a life insurance policy for the citizens, that well-trained police officers don't make mistakes. They preserve people's rights and they keep people alive when they have the tools, equipment, and training to do that. And so here in Burlington, we've implemented a very high ratio of scenario-based training. And so we were able to obtain, simunitions, and we used simunitions for a number of years, and we still use simunitions. But then as we began to dip our toe into de-escalation training, we recognize that it's really uncomfortable and almost impossible to have a mask on as you're reading facial expressions and trying to de-escalate a situation. So at that point, we actually used a JAG burn grant to obtain a laser system. And so that way there's not a projectile. So now our officers are wearing a laser vest in training, and they're able to make communication a priority in that training scenario. And so sometimes it's a use of force scenario, and sometimes it's a de-escalation scenario. And having that ability to do all of those things in one setting has really made a dramatic difference for us. So over the last 4 years, because of the equipment that we have and the training that we have, our uses of force have been on a downward scale across that 4-year period of time. And any time that we're not using force, I can guarantee my police officer will not be injured, right? In any type of physical confrontation, there's a chance that the suspect will be injured and a chance that the police officer will be injured. If we value the sanctity of all life, then we're going to do our best not to have any kind of confrontation. And this scenario-based training has been exceptional for us to make sure that that they've practiced the skills and they're confident in their ability to de-escalate. So it's been remarkable for us. In 2014, we had a sizable RICO forfeiture and said, all right, I've got a chunk of money. What's the most significant thing I can do to make my police officers safer? And for me, that was to buy tactical rifle-rated plates and tactical helmets. I didn't want to wait for a SWAT team to be called to bring that gear to the scene to be able to manage an event and keep our officers safe. I wanted every single police officer that could potentially deploy on a call where a gun was involved. It might not be an active shooter at a school. It might just be a domestic violence call where we're told the perpetrator has a firearm. So we changed the culture of the organization and said, here's the deal. We're going to buy this equipment, but you're not going to put it in the trunk. You're going to take a carry-on vest and you're going to put it in your front seat, and the helmet's going to be in your front seat, and you're going to put it on every time there's a comment on the call that says there's a gun. And we did that. We spent $75,000 to equip every first responder in the organization. So lieutenants and above didn't get the plate carriers and the tactical helmets, but everybody else did. We made the decision then put ballistic panels in the driver door of every police car. And to retrofit the fleet was not possible, but let's put these panels, they're $1,500, $1,600 a panel. Let's put it in each car as a price of a car. And then the finance department never balked. We just said the price of the car is $55,000 fully equipped. Here it is, out the door, go. And so without any fight from anybody, we put ballistic panels in the driver door of every single future police car. And now here we are in 2020, 2/3 or 3/4 of my fleet is now equipped with ballistic panels in the driver door because of that relatively simple decision that we made in 2013. So I've got 139 police officers. So I feel like we're in a space where we're not super big and become inflexible with our purchasing protocols and implementation, but I don't have 10 cops either. So we're in a good size agency where we've got enough resources that we can apply to these problems and make the police officers safer and do that in a kind of holistic way. So we've had the tactical plate carriers and the helmets since 2014. They've since expired and we went back and bought a whole nother round, right? So just keeping with the warranty time frame. And I know that when my police officers talk to police officers in other jurisdictions, the other places are jealous at the equipment we carry. And it's just a decision you have to make, investing in officer safety.
One of the things that we were pushing for as I ran for elected office is to increase the hands-on training that our deputies receive. You know, we do the Police One programs and things like that, like many agencies do, but we wanted to also push out more hands-on training. And certainly the feedback from the deputies was absolutely positive. You know, we're out at the range more frequently, we're behind the wheel more frequently. You know, anytime we can get officers to be involved in hands-on training, we find that they retain that training better, that they're more involved in the training. It's more bang for our buck. So we're in the process of purchasing a judgmental use of force and de-escalation scenario simulator, a virtual system, so that not only do we spend, you know, at least 4, if not 5 annual events out at the range, just live shooting, we want to be able to have something here that regardless of scheduling, we can pull officers in off the street. and allow them to go straight to the simulator, and we can talk about those judgmental use of forces, that they have the ability to do that role playing right then and there. And that's good, specifically when you can program it to your suspicious person calls, your traffic stops, any of a number of things. And these days, even more, I think, important is the de-escalation component of that process as well. And so, in addition to the active shooter training that we actually have out the live range, things like that, the simulations, I think having the virtual system also is going to be very handy for our folks as we move forward for that type of training.
About 5 years ago, I had a sergeant on the street that said, hey, listen, there's a better way to clear a rooftop building, and why not just use an off-the-shelf drone, such as a Mavic DJI, which is very popular in the sporting world. You think, well, that's going to be a very expensive solution. Initially, it was his own, and it was about $1,600 just to purchase one, which isn't any more than the cost of a light bar on a patrol car. So when you think of safety equipment, don't overlook the idea of something that could be used every day on a call if need be. So today we actually use them, whether it's a pre-planned SWAT event, where we have demonstrated that the tactical teams that are trying to arrive on scene actually have intercepted people that are fleeing out of a back building, or they're in a shed that nobody would ever know that they're there. And think of the safety elements of trying to surround and call out someone. It's actually prevented injury by avoiding a confrontation, a face-to-face encounter with potentially armed subjects that were wanted. And the sky's the limit to how we can improve safety. And when safety is what we're trying to get to, this is probably one of the most effective and low-cost tool that you can employ throughout your department. And one of the best parts is the future of law enforcement is about officers that really enjoy technology. And what we're beginning to work on right now is an adjunct team within the department, so that we have 5 or 6 highly trained, skilled officers that may know how to use a flying drone, a robot, a pull cam, so that they can be deployed and not take away from the staff that are deployed with the SWAT team or other special teams. So it's quite a low investment in cost and a high return. So I encourage you to look at the ability to simply use a drone that's off the shelf. And they're even partnering with companies like Axon with DJI, so that officers' movements are actually tracked and you can identify in real time, streaming to a command center. It's not complicated. It's nice that other agencies have done the work for you. If you're interested, please reach out, look at the website, and don't hesitate to call and contact those of us who have already paved the way so that you can have this technology.
The Fairfax County Police Department was a finalist for the 2015 Destination Zero Officer Safety Award for its creation of its Safety Officer Program.
The Fairfax County Police Department safety officer is required to respond to major incident scenes, to mitigate hazards, and help to prevent some casualties that may appear on those scenes. Each district station has the same equipment. As officers move from one station to another, they're utilizing the same equipment. They have the same protective gear at each facility. And that's something that the Safety Officer Program has supplied for them. Uniformity, consistency in training, consistency in use helps to mitigate a lot of injuries.
The Fairfax Police Department was honored again in 2016 when they expanded their officer safety program to include a full-time athletic trainer.
We realized the benefit to having an athletic trainer for individuals that were receiving injuries during some wellness activities, and it expanded to in-service personnel that were getting hurt on duty, and has proved to be extremely beneficial.
My role as athletic trainer is to diagnose, treat, prevent, and rehabilitate any injury or illness the officers might encounter in their normal workday. I also provide emergency intervention should something happen during their training day.
At first they were extremely reluctant because they were unsure of the benefits that they could receive
But once officers understand that they have easy access to a qualified healthcare professional to provide for their rehabilitation needs, consult about various medical illnesses, and just get quality healthcare, they're very excited about it. It really is easy access to a rehabilitation professional on their time.
As more officers responded and they found out that they were being cured on duty rather than going to their personal primary care physicians, it saves the individual officer time and money because they don't have to pay a copay, and it saves the county countless funds.
Another element the Fairfax PD implemented is the Tactical First Aid Program.
Each officer has a tactical emergency care packet in their cruiser behind the passenger side headrest that incorporates the use of a tourniquet, some gauze, some bandages, some Hemocolt for someone who needs immediate care. If we're first on scene and fire department is still in a staging mode, the tactical kit has emergency response equipment in it that an officer can start immediate care. It allows immediate rescue operations to take place. Whatever reason works to make our officers safe makes me proud. Now, with this recognition, we're able to pass on what we have learned to other departments. It gives us just a fantastic feeling, and we're so proud to be part of the Destination Zero Awards.
I think like the others, we have the simulator training, we do extra training. We also have extra equipment in the vehicles. After Dallas shooting there, we put rifle protection vests in the cruisers. We also have tourniquets and medical devices inside the car, but we have a 911 bag that we call it. It's a small bag that has equipment that if there is a shooting incident, that the officer can grab it, that has extra ammunition, that has compression bandages, that has tourniquets, and extra batteries for the radio in case there's a serious call. They can just grab and go with that. I think it all starts with before the officer gets in the car. It starts with getting your head in the game first. So we talk about being ready to work. We talk about being physically fit, having that energy, having the physical capacity to handle anything. And then the mental capacity, is your head in the game? Are you thinking about the job, or are you thinking about a divorce or something else going on? So we offer that mental wellness check-ins too to build those relationships. But everything to start for a successful firefight starts even before you put your boots on. Are you ready to go? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you planning for the events? Are you thinking about things when you respond to the call? If you show up, even if you showed up thousands of times to these addresses on the same barking dog call, this thing could turn out bad. So we have to be left a bang when we show up. We have to take everything into consideration for that. We can have all the equipment and the training and the supplies I can give you and the procedures, but it still comes down, are we ready to do the job and change that culture and be ready to go when we put our boots on?
So here are 4 quick safety tips that we learned along the way when working with Destination Zero. The first tip is to consider putting magnetic microphone mounts in your cruisers along the console so the in-car microphone can quickly be released and attached to the microphone without you having to worry about reseating it in a clip, taking your eyes off the road. So if you're in a pursuit, or you're responding to a call and have to acknowledge the dispatcher or broadcast additional information, you can quickly do that over your in-car handheld mic and then bring it down towards this magnetic disc and let it go. It'll be there for your next transmission, but you don't have to take your eyes off the road to reseat the mic. So it creates better safety by you keeping your eyes on the road. The next thing to consider is a coiled earpiece that can connect to your police radio, your handheld duty radio, that goes into your ear, and this makes sure you don't miss any transmissions. I know when I was a policeman, I often was cupping my ear, trying to listen to the radio that was down on my belt. Sometimes I would turn it down to talk to citizens, and I would miss an important transmission or miss them trying to raise me. having the coiled earpiece in your ear allows only you to hear the transmissions. And if you stop someone, run a name, or you're conducting a tag check or a warrant check, the person, if they're standing nearby, will not hear the return. This increases your safety because many times officers have been assaulted when suspects have heard that they are in fact wanted when the returns come over the policeman's radio and they can hear it. So this provides you that little extra bit of security when you're not broadcasting to the world what the return on your tag check or warrant check is. The next thing for you to consider, and these are relatively new, they're small magnetic mounted lights that can be added to your, attached to your shoulder. And I know cops wear a lot of equipment now, but this has the benefit of being a shoulder mounted light that will beam in front of you. It's very bright, so you can evaluate documents without having to hold your flashlight up or holding your radio and your flashlight. It helps you keep your hands free. It would help in searching. And it has the added benefit of having red and blue strobes to help you be identified by other police officers as law enforcement. So in certain situations, this would be a good thing. Say you're in a foot pursuit and it's hard to transmit while you're jumping fences and running and let everybody else know where you are. You can turn on this red and blue flashing light that's quite bright that will allow other officers to see you and know where you are. It should also help cut down on blue shootings. We average about 2 a year where 2 officers are shot and killed by other officers in different circumstances, but many of those circumstances are mistaken identity. It does offer the suspect the benefit of knowing where you are with that bright light, so there may be situations where you want to douse it. It can be easily doused by the click of a button. But again, it's just another thing that will increase not only your safety, but keep your hands free and allow other officers to know where you are in certain situations. The last tip is really not a tip. It really should be a standing operational procedure and a standing order. And that is, there is one piece of equipment that you should always use and can and will save your life, and that is your seatbelt. Between 2014 and 2018, there were 160 fatal crashes involving law enforcement. Within those crashes, 43% of the officers were not wearing their seatbelt. It will save your life, and it should be just as important as wearing your body armor. Thank you for what you do, and be safe.